Hi learners! On this video lesson, you will learn the 5 key angle pairs in geometry and the special relationship between the angles in each pair. How these relationships help solve the measure of unknown angles is showcased. The pairs of angles in real life are shown to make the concepts relatable and meaningful. Strategies in analyzing and answering word problems related to the topic are demonstrated to let you gain an understanding on how these are done so that you will be able to successfully answer geometry problems similar to these in the future. If your lesson is on the key angle pairs in geometry, such as complementary angles, supplementary angles, adjacent angles, linear pair, and vertical angles, or if you have an assignment on this topic, or if you are preparing for a test in math, or a test in geometry in particular, or you're someone who's interested in learning math, then this video is for you. Having that said, please support the channel by giving a like. If you have not already done so, hit that subscribe button and share this video as well. Thank you, it will definitely help this channel. Before we start, let us refresh our understanding of what an angle is and how it is named. The figure here is an angle. It has 2 intersecting rays and an opening between the rays. The rays are the sides of the angle, and the intersection of the rays end point is the vertex of the angle. The opening, which at times is marked with an arc as shown, corresponds to the size of the angle. A protractor is used to measure its size. Refer to the video lesson entitled Types of Angles Based on Measure on how the angle is measured using a protractor. On this video lesson, we will use the degree unit for angle measure. Remember that an angle has this symbol for its notation. We will refresh our memories on how the angle is named. Let us first name some points on the angle. With 3 points identified, we can now name the angle as angle CAB, or angle BAC, or angle A. Note that when 3 letters are used, the vertex point must be at the middle. When angles are labeled this way, they are named as angle N and angle 1 respectively. Now, onto the different angle pairs. Angle pairs are pairs of angles with special geometric relationships based on their measurement and or position. These relationships serve as tools in determining unknown angle measures. Here are the 5 pairs. First, adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are any 2 angles having a common vertex and sharing a common sides. They do not overlap. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. Second, complementary angles. These are any 2 angles whose measure sum to 90 degrees. Look at the figure, learners. Angle 3 and angle 4 are complementary angles because the sum of the measures of their angles is 90 degrees. Recall that a box indicates a 90-degree angle measure. Likewise, angle C and angle D are complementary angles for the sum of their measures is also 90 degrees. That is, 60 degrees plus 30 degrees is 90 degrees. As shown here, the angles do not have to be touching to be complementary. Now, because angle 3 and angle 4 are sharing a common side and vertex, this pair is also referred to as adjacent complementary angles, while angle C and angle D are non-adjacent complementary angles. Each angle in the pair is called the complement of the other angle. The special relation between any 2 complementary angles is described in the equation that follow. That is, if angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary angles, then the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 90 degrees. Did you get it, learners? Okay, we move on to the third. Third, supplementary angles. These are any two angles whose measure sum to 180 degrees. It is not necessary that the angles must always be adjacent to each other. As long as the sum of their angle measure is 180 degrees, the angles are supplementary angles. Each angle in the pair is called the supplement of the other angle. Here are pairs of supplementary angles. Now, angle ABD and angle DBC are adjacent angles aside from being supplementary angles. Hence, this pair is also referred to as adjacent supplementary angles. On the other hand, angle F and angle G are non-adjacent supplementary angles. The special relation between any two supplementary angles is described in the equation that follow. That is, if angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary angles, then the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180 degrees. Okay, so fourth, linear pair. These are two adjacent angles whose non-common sides form a straight line. This is where a linear pair gets the name. The sides not common to the two angles form a straight line. Because the non-common sides form a straight line, the pair is also supplementary. That is, the sum of the measures of the two angles is always 180 degrees. Although every linear pair is supplementary, not all supplementary angles are linear pair. Look at these learners. Angle FIG and angle GIH form a linear pair, for they have a common side and vertex, and their non-common sides form a straight line. Now, because the non-common sides form a straight line, the sum of the measures of the two angles in the pair is 180 degrees, making the pair supplementary angles at the same time. On the other hand, angle J and angle K are supplementary angles, for the sum of the measures of the two angles is 180 degrees. But the two angles do not share a common side and vertex, and there are no non-common sides that join the two angles forming a straight line. Hence, the two do not make a linear pair. Did you get it, learners? The special relation between any two angles in a linear pair is described in the equation that follow. If angle 1 and angle 2 are angles in a linear pair, then the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180 degrees. Now, two intersecting lines create four linear pairs. You should know this. Every pair shares a vertex and a common side. Here are the four pairs. Angle 1 and angle 2, angle 2 and angle 3, angle 3 and angle 4, and angle 4 and angle 1. Thus, the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180 degrees. The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 is 180 degrees. The measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 is also 180 degrees. And the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 1 is also 180 degrees. Did you get it, learners? Okay, now on to the fifth angle pair. Fifth, vertical angles. These are the two non-adjacent angles formed when lines intersect. These two angles are opposite each other. They share a vertex but do not share a side. How many pairs of vertical angles do you see here, learners? You're correct. There are two pairs of vertical angles here. So when two lines intersect, two pairs of vertical angles are formed. Vertical angles are congruent, which means that the angles in the pair have equal measures. Remember that we have this symbol for congruence. On the figure, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Hence, angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. And because they are congruent, the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. Also, angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Hence, they are congruent. And because they're congruent, the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 4. Did you get it, learners? So, if the measure of angle 1 is 70 degrees, what is the measure of angle 3, learners? You're correct. The measure of angle 3 is also 70 degrees. The relation between these two vertical angles helps us determine the measure of the unknown angle. I hope you were able to follow, learners. Now listen up and look at the figure again. If angle 1 is 70 degrees, what do you think is the measure of angle 2? To answer the question, you have to first recognize that angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair and are supplementary angles. Being supplementary means that the sum of the measures of angle 1 and angle 2 is 180 degrees. Angle 1 is 70 degrees, so we can plug in the value. Subtracting 70 degrees from both sides of the equation gives us 110 degrees. So the measure of angle 2 is 110 degrees. That was easy. Again, the relationship between the angles in the pair helps us find the measure of the unknown angle. Here are the measures of all the angles on the figure. Okay, now, where do we see angle pairs in real life? Look at here. An open pair of scissors shows vertical angles. The footrail and leg of a chair form an adjacent supplementary or linear supplementary angles. This partially open door shows complementary angles. Intersecting roads as well as buildings and structures show all types of angle pairs as shown here. Learners, can you name some angle pairs around you? I'm sure you can name several, for angle pairs are everywhere. Okay, so let us now answer the sample problems that follow. Here is sample problem 1. Given the diagram below, identify which statements are true. Option A, angle A and angle C are vertical angles. Option B, there are 4 linear pairs shown on the diagram. Option C, angle A and angle B are complementary angles. Option D, the measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle C. Option E, the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle A is 180 degrees. As usual, we begin by reading the whole problem and may read it several times when needed to know what we're looking for, to determine what are given, and to figure out how the given information helps find what we're looking for. Okay, what is asked in the problem, learners? Sample problem 1 asks us to identify which of the options have a statement that is true. What are given? A figure is given with options containing statements. This is how we will answer the problem. We will deal with the options one after the other, then identify the concepts presented, and analyze if the statement about the concept is true with the use of the diagram. Let us start with option A. It states that angle A and angle C are vertical angles. Here, we need to recall what vertical angles are. These are 2 non-adjacent angles formed by intersecting lines. Do we have this on the diagram? Yes, we do, so the statement is correct. Okay, we move on to option B. It states that there are 4 linear pairs shown on the diagram. The statement is about linear pairs. A linear pair has 2 adjacent angles whose non-common sides form a straight line. Let us look at the diagram and find out if we have this pair here, and how many are there if there are. Okay, so there are 4 pairs, therefore this statement is true. Now on to option C. It says that angle A and angle B are complementary angles. Complementary angles are any 2 angles whose measures sum to 90 degrees. Do we have that pair on our diagram? Okay, so none, Therefore, the statement is not true. Now on to option D. It states that the measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle C. Now, we have to ask ourselves this question. What type of angle pair has both angles equal in measure? Correct, vertical angles. Let us examine our diagram to find out if angle B and angle C are vertical angles. Are they vertical angles? No, they're not, so the statement is not true. Okay, we move on to option E. It states that the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle A is 180 degrees. Let us first look at the diagram and locate these two angles. Now, what type of angle pair is this? Okay, so this is a linear pair. What do we know about their measure? The sum of their measure is 180 degrees, so the statement is true. There you are, learners. So what are our answers again? Okay, so our answers are option A, option B, and option E. That was easy. Okay, let us now move on to sample problem 2. Here's the problem. An open laptop is on top the table as shown. The display screen forms a 65-degree angle with the table. What is the measure of the angle formed between the screen and the keyboard? Option A, 25 degrees. Option B, 65 degrees. Option C, 115 degrees. Option D, 180 degrees. As usual, we begin by reading the whole problem and may read it several times when needed to know what we're looking for, to determine what are given, and to figure out how the given information help find what we're looking for. Okay, what is asked in the problem, learners? Here, we're asked to find the measure of the angle formed between the screen and the keyboard. What are given? We're given a photograph of an open laptop on top of the table and the measure of the angle formed between the laptop screen and the top of the table, which is 65 degrees. Okay, so let us look at the photograph and find out what type of angle pair is shown by the diagram. What angle pair is shown here, learners? You're correct, a linear pair. What do we know about the sum of the measures of the angles in a linear pair? Okay, so their sum is 180 degrees. Let us call the angle with a given measure as angle 1 and the unknown angle as angle 2. With that, we can now write the relation between the angles. Plugging in the value for angle 1, we have subtracting 65 degrees from both sides of the equation gives us this. So, what is our answer, learners? Is it option A, option B, option C, or option D? Okay, so the answer is option C. There you are, learners. That was again easy. I hope that you acquired lots of learnings in today's video. Let us summarize what we have learned today. We have learned that, first, the 5 key angle pairs in geometry are complementary angles, supplementary angles, adjacent angles, linear pair, and vertical angles. Second, the special relationship between the two angles in each angle pair helps solve the measure of unknown angles. Third, adjacent angles are any two angles having a common vertex and sharing a common side. They do not overlap. Fourth, complementary angles are any two angles whose measure sum to 90 degrees. Fifth, supplementary angles are any two angles whose measures sum to 180 degrees. Sixth, linear pair is a pair of two adjacent angles whose non-common sides form a straight line. The sum of the measures of the two angles is 180 degrees. Seventh, vertical angles are two non-adjacent angles or opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. They share a vertex but do not share a side. Vertical angles are congruent. Eighth, when solving a problem, you must read it and may read it several times when needed to know what we're looking for, to determine what are given, and to figure out how the given information helps find what you are looking for. 9th, when a figure is given, make use of it and modify when needed. It is there to help you analyze and solve the problem. There you are, learners. I hope this video helps. That's it for now. If you have any